the angles of triangles. Okay, that's all trigonometry is, nothing real major. Okay, there are 3 different trig ratios: sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay, and what those 3 are is they are the ratios of the sides of a right triangle. Alright, so when we have a right triangle, we have 3 sides. We have 2 legs and a hypotenuse. Okay? Alright, so when we are talking about sine, okay, we abbreviate sine as S-I-N. So when you're reading it, don't say sin of A. Okay, say sine. Okay, it's an abbreviation for sine. Okay, it is the ratio of the opposite side to the hypotenuse. Okay, so we need to talk about opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. I think we've got a pretty good handle on hypotenuse, right? Okay, so when they're talking about opposite and adjacent, we're talking about the legs. Okay, so in this case, it's asking for the sine of A. So that means we look at angle A, okay, and we're looking for the leg that's opposite of A, which is the leg. So A over, what is my hypotenuse? C. Okay, so sine of A is opposite over hypotenuse. Alright? If I'm looking at sine of B, now I've got to go down here and look at this angle. Okay? And opposite of sine B is who? B over, what's my hypotenuse? C. Okay? Cosine, abbreviated COS, we're not talking about the cos of A, we're talking about the cosine. It's just an abbreviation for cosine. So now we're looking at A, and cosine is the ratio of adjacent to hypotenuse. So if we're on the parking lot, and I say, I parked adjacent to you today, what does that mean? Yeah, that I parked next to. So when we're talking about the adjacent side, we're talking about the leg that is next to that angle. So if I'm talking A, the adjacent side is the leg that's hooked onto A. So in this case, it's B over hypotenuse is C. Okay, so now if I'm looking at B, I'm looking at adjacent is A over C, over the hypotenuse. Okay, and tangent, abbreviated tan, is the ratio of the opposite leg over the adjacent leg. Okay, so tangent of A, we're looking at A, opposite is A, over adjacent is B. Okay, and if we're looking at B, opposite is B, over adjacent is A. Alright, so there's a special way to remember these. And you probably going to see it a lot on the ACT. Okay, you'll see a lot of questions like this on the ACT. Okay, so to remember these ratios, we remember SO, CA, You'll hear people say SOHCAHTOA. Okay, and it's a way to remember these ratios. And what it means is that sine is S. Sine is, what's the O stand for? Opposite over hypotenuse. Ca is cosine, is, what's the A? Adjacent over hypotenuse. And TOA is tangent, is opposite over adjacent. Sounds bad, right? I told you today wasn't going to be a bad day. Alright, so I'm going to write that up here. So, alright, so sine of A. So we're looking at A. Opposite is 5 over the hypotenuse 13. Is that in Lewis terms? Yes. Yes. Okay, just make sure, remember, we always put our ratios in Lewis terms. Okay, cosine, adjacent, 12 over hypotenuse 13. Tangent, opposite. 5 is opposite. Over adjacent is 12. Okay. Are we confused about opposite and adjacent? Okay. Positive? Alright, so now it's asking for sine of C. So now we have to change our point of reference down here to C. Okay, so sine opposite over hypotenuse 13. Cosine adjacent 5 over hypotenuse 13. And tangent opposite 12 over 5. Which one of those ratios is greater than 1? And the tangent of C. Okay? Why? Tell me this. Why is tangent the only ratio that can be greater than 1? Well, okay. Sine and cosine have to do with what? What's the bottom of sine and cosine? The hypotenuse. Okay? The hypotenuse is always the longest side of my triangle, right? So if the longest side is always the bottom in sine and cosine, can it ever be greater than 1? No. In tangent, when we're dealing with opposite and adjacent, there's only one triangle in which one leg isn't bigger than the other. Right? And that would be the 45, 45, 90 when they're equal to each other. But every other right triangle, one leg has to be bigger than the other. That's why I had to go to the chiropractor last night. Come on! Alright, so in number 2, okay, we need all 3 of the sides of my triangle. I only have 2. How do I find the third side? Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so how am I going to set this up? 81 plus 144 equals C squared. So 225 is C squared. So my C is 15. Alright, so we're using sine. We're using W right now. Sine is opposite over over 15. Is that in those terms?
Yeah.
No. No. Divide the top and the bottom by 5. Divide the top and the bottom by 3, and I get 4/5. Yes.
It's most of the time it's going to go in sine, cosine, tangent.
Not necessarily, no.
So you can kind of keep your eye on
That's why you gotta know that. You gotta know what they're asking for. Okay, so cosine 9 over 15, which is 3/5. Tangent is 12 over 9. Opposite over adjacent is 4/5. Right? So shift your focus. Now we're looking at x. Sine is opposite. 9 over 15. That's cosine. 12 over 15, we get 4/5. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. 9 over 12 is 3/5. 3/4. Yes. I was trying to go too fast.
Jennifer Johnson, would you call the main office, please? 5605, Jennifer Johnson.
Alright. This guy, what do we need? We need the leg. So, how do I set this up? Okay, so x squared plus 256 equals 1,156. Okay, so x squared is 900 and x is 30. All right, I want you guys to fill out those 6 blanks. So you guys got for L? Yep. Okay. So the M. Am I good? My part. Yes. No. So you guys got it? All right. So now in your calculator, we need to make sure that all of your calculators are in degree mode. Okay. So if you've got one of my calculators, you need to hit mode, which is right next to the second button. If radian shows up, you gotta go down, down, over, and hit enter. Okay. Little camera. Okay, if you've got this guy, which I think a lot of us do, you need to hit mode. Okay. Oh no, not mode. You need this button that's next to the second, this DRG button. Hit DRG, and then if that line's underneath DEG, that means degrees. Hit enter. If it's not, you gotta go over to that and hit enter. What else? This one. Very good. Anybody else? Got crazy calculators out there? Alright, so. Thanks. Okay, what do we get? Did everybody get this?
Yeah.
All right, so on your assignment, you're gonna have to round to the nearest 100. Okay, so sine of 52 is 0.79. What does that mean? Okay, and I would write this just on the back side of where we've been writing. Good?
I'm gonna keep this out, what that means.
Sure.
That, ratio that we get in that fraction that we put, is just dividing.
Exactly. All right, so that means that anytime I have a right triangle with a 52-degree angle, okay, sine is what over what?
Oh, opposite.
Opposite
How about over?
over hypotenuse, right? That means in any right triangle with a 52-degree angle, opposite divided by hypotenuse is always going to be 0.79 in the top. Right? If I had a triangle that looked like that, and this was a 52-degree angle, I'm still going to get opposite over hypotenuse equals 0.79. Why? Yep, the answers are going to be the same. But why? What kind of triangles do I have? Okay, so I have right triangles. Do I have another congruent angle? Yes. So that makes my triangles, the sides are, but that makes my, yeah, what have? Similar, yeah. Because I have similar triangles. Right? Because I have similar triangles, what are my sides, Will? My sides are proportional so my ratio of my sides is always going to be the same, and in this case, it's going to be 79 over 100 if it's a 52-degree angle. Right? Not so horrible today, right? No, because most of today is going to be this guy called SOHCAHTOA.